I am Vimala Roshi, and I lead the Green Bay Zen Center, north of here about 40 miles. And I'm really pleased to be here for this retreat and very impressed by the technology that's been put together and the great effort that's gone into making this happen. It's really quite remarkable. For those of you who aren't here, this probably isn't too far removed from a Hollywood production site. There's screens in 3 rooms, and there's cords, and there's lighting. It's pretty impressive. So honored to be here, honored that you're here, and I apologize that I can't make better eye contact. So I'll stop trying. When I was brought into the planning for the Rohatsu and invited to make a talk today, I considered a number of things that I might bring to the table. And what I kept coming back to was the idea of Sangha, which seemed to make perfect sense because of the nature of this retreat, all spread out all over the place, different cities, countries, locations, groups, backgrounds. Some of us know each other very well, some of us we've never met, and we're all part of the Sangha. I thought about it quite a bit on and off, and then I got busy doing some internet searches. I found some lovely things that I wanted to share. One in particular from Thich Nhat Hanh, description of Sangha, the role it plays in our lives. A nice outline was ready for this today. And then I left it at home. So that's a lesson in impermanence. But this is Sangha. I think many of you probably know that the idea of Sangha comes from a long, long time ago, from the Buddhist time, when the followers, when the early monks and disciples would wander and spend most of the year out in the world, and then come back to a specific place for the rainy season and use that time to regenerate themselves, to discuss the Dharma, to challenge one another, to teach what they feel they'd learned. Leadership roles eventually evolved, and so on and so on. And that was the early Sangha, the first students, the first followers of the Dharma, the Buddha Dharma. And it's still a perfectly apt definition to be a practitioner, to be a follower of the Buddha Dharma, a student of the Buddha Dharma, which we all are. And it occurred to me a number of years ago that that's a very, very limiting definition. People who've never read a word of the Buddha Dharma or know nothing about the practice, who've never, ever studied, read about the tradition, are members of the Sangha. Yes? People who live in cultures that have never heard the word Buddha, the name Buddha, are part of the Sangha. All beings are part of the Sangha from that point of view. So whether you're in Colorado or Wisconsin or where, Dubai? Who's from Dubai? Amazing. We're all part of the same Sangha. I think Sangha has a broader definition of community. Community of practitioners, a community of people trying to understand themselves, trying to understand the Buddha Dharma, supporting one another to be better human beings, to be more gracious, more kind, more understanding of the world, practitioners. And the Sangha is every human being. Because, as we understand, we are all connected. We are all connected one to another. Everything that I do every day affects everybody else on the planet. I think that's remarkable. Everything you do every single day affects everybody on the planet. I judge that if one goes deep enough into that thought, into that idea, it'll take your breath away. To fully understand Sangha is to increase our awareness and appreciation of the interconnectedness and interdependency of all beings, which in our sutra book is the definition. Yes? It's really too bad they can't talk. Since I can't see and I can't hear, they have to nod. So am I making sense? Just do that.
Oh, lots of nods there.
Lots of nods? Okay, good.
Yes.
Go! Move! And I judge that with that understanding is a responsibility. What is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness, which enables us to understand, transform, and transcend greed, anger, and ignorance. What is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness, which enables us to understand, transform, and transcend greed, anger, and ignorance. You know that one, that's in the Sutra book. So if I am mindfully aware, to the best of my ability, a quality of mind, a skill that evolves over time and practice, if I am mindfully aware, I recognize that everything I do affects everyone else on the planet. How I spend my money, what I put in my mouth, the businesses I support, the way I treat people who are cruel toward me or that I judge as ignorant. It's all part of the growing awareness of practice. And it's incumbent on me to be diligent in that because we are all Sangha. This was particularly interesting to me in the last year or so. Actually, the last 4 years. To continually, as I'm sure we all have stories, to continually, either in person or through media, social media, written press, bump into ideas and thoughts and people and behaviors in the political realm that I could not agree with any less. It was a great, great experience for me. Not always. Not always. But it showed me my dark spots. It showed me my shadow states. It demonstrated on occasions how reactive I can become. Wonderful teaching. Like 4 years in the monastery. I think you all know that you had that experience too in some way. To be mindfully aware of what I think and feel, what I say, how I do, how I spend my time and my life, is this practice, is the Buddha Dharma. And perhaps I'm unique, I don't think I am. But my judgment is that everyone on this call can relate to what I just said. And it wasn't till the bitter end, till like the fourth quarter of the race, politically, that I really got that I had failed many times, even in trying to be kind and trying to be understanding. I found myself feeling anger, feeling disappointment, being critical, which is okay. It's part of being human. But then what do I do with those feelings? What do I do with those feelings when someone is, when I'm offended by something or somebody? Well, if the first part of this makes any sense, that we are all Sangha, we're all practitioners in our own way, we're all developing our own wisdom and understanding, then it's incumbent on me to be aware of that all the time, not be reactive. Again, I may be the only one on the call, this call, that ever felt reactive in the last 4 years. I may be the only one. If you're still on mute, everyone in this room is laughing. Because everyone on the call understands the challenges of staying clean and clear in one's thought and feelings. To be clean and clear in the words that we use. I can be angry. I can passionately disagree with someone. But that doesn't mean I have to be aggressive. It doesn't mean I have to be forceful and contracted. It's simply a reminder that something is off and that I want to look at that and open up to it. Just open up. What's going on? In some corners of the world, they say that reactivity, what's the term? You spot it, you got it. But that's a reflection of me, not that stupid son of a bitch. Can I say that?
You already did.
Apparently.
So that's the invitation for consideration. Everyone is part of the Sangha. Every human being is the Sangha. And some of us, I judge, are fortunate enough to have a group of like-minded people who practice and study and engage in exploring the Buddha Dharma. I think that's just enormously fortunate. And in a planet of 8 or 9 billion people, it's pretty rare. It's a small slice of that pie. And I project that if we do our studies correctly, if we practice with great diligence, if we open up the possibility that we are one Sangha, one being, little by little, we move the needle. And the world becomes the true paradise that it is. The veil of confusion is lifted from others as well as from myself. Does that make sense? Remember, you're supposed to nod.
I see some nods.
See some nods?
I see some nods, yeah.
She could be lying to me to make me feel better. How lovely. What fun. I guess I don't even need Thich Nhat Hanh's reading.
No, I guess not.
I think that's my time, isn't it?
You have 15 minutes.
I just used it.
We have 15 more.
Oh. Where are you going?
Well, if anybody wants to say anything, I can zoom in so it makes it bigger.
Wonderful. We have time for comments, questions. Especially welcome any praise. Criticism. Does what I've shared match your experience? How do they get into this?
So I remember the four awakened vows, the first one. However innumerable all beings are, I vow to serve and liberate them all, even the ones you don't like. And maybe they won't like it. So you can maybe disagree with them or point out maybe their misconceptions, and that still serves them rather than arguing with them and causing them to lock down and entrench their views, I guess.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you. I couldn't agree more. And just first response to what you said is, in reasoned argument or reasoned discussion with individuals who hold different views, I have learned things and changed my views in some ways. And I've helped other people change their views in some ways. But I've never changed anyone's view by yelling at them. It just doesn't seem to work. I don't know why. If they would just listen to me, everything would be fine. I vow to serve and liberate them all.
I used to say, you can't change someone's mind no matter how hard you hit them.
No matter how hard you hit them. I love you, damn it. Are people putting up their hands? Is that what's going on?
Trying to see if people are.
Anyone else have something to offer? Don't forget that praise is welcome.
And I guess to your point, this is Engo, about, if you spot it, you got it. And how we project onto, that jerk, something that we're denying in ourselves. And then the effort is to take it back and own it, right? And withdraw our projection from that other person. But one way that I always recall Doshin verbaging it, that always made it a little easier for me, was also, he goes, recognize just because it's your projection doesn't mean that there's not a great big hook inside that other person to hang that projection on. So oftentimes and in Mankind Project, it seems like we're always trying to take it all back on ourselves. And no, recognizing it's in both of us, that there really is probably a big hook in that other person for me to hang my projection on. It's both of us. And now it's up to me to clean up my piece of it. And if by doing that, maybe I can help them do the same. But in any case, that's often made it softer and easier for me to own my projection and still see it in them, in the other.
Thank you, Engo. I thought that was you.
Yes.
Now I can see you more clearly. She enlarged you.
I object.
Hello?
I object because I don't think just because somebody else sees something that suddenly the other person owns something too. So I think everybody needs to realize that we are one, and that, I mean, if you see something and you want to own it, you can go ahead. And if you see a hook, you can hang it on the hook and everything. But it's a little bit presumptuous to assume that just because you see something that it is really there on the other person sometimes. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's a good contribution. I think my reactivity is my business. My reactivity is my business, and you're on the stage with me. So of course you contribute to it, not you personally, but that other person contributes to my reactivity. I think that you would agree with that.
She's nodding.
Okay, thanks for nodding. Anyone else? Teisho.
So I think one of the most challenging parts of the practice we're talking about, and the most valuable when it can be done, when I can do it, is to really listen to a person who holds views that are quite different than mine, even anathema, even, views that I vehemently oppose, and try to listen from the point of view of, well, how do they have that view? What does that view mean to them? Because I must do it from the understanding that they, as well as all other beings, are in manifestations of Buddha nature, and that they don't hold that view as a deliberate evil. In some way, just as when I've made terrible mistakes, I thought I was right. They think they're right. And so what's so hard for me is to see into that and respect that as a part of connecting with them. That's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd see what you would have to say about that.
I completely agree that your opinion is as valuable and justifiable as mine. And tell me more about your opinion is a pretty good response. Tell me more. Why do you think that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, or even when we can't really directly engage the person, to watch and listen and open our mind and try to understand. Because we can't always, when you start talking about the past 4 years, we can't engage all the people that were part of that drama for us.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we can't open our minds and try to see into that perspective and understand how that perspective can be valid from that point of view.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. It's important to listen.
I'd like to say something. First of all, my brother,
Is that Jumpo?
gratitude. We go back so far from the beginning. And I love you. I respect you. I appreciate all you've done. And thank you. And one, ignorance. It's like the president we've had for a while now. It's like, can I feel where he's at? Can I feel his pain, his confusion, his neurosis? Could be psychosis, right? The torture he's in, right? And he does these things, and can I feel that? How can I help? Can you help me understand this? It's like if something's there, where am I coming from? Are they evil? Are they bad? Or are they ignorant? Right? Has their conditioning created them exactly as my conditioning has created me?
Mm-hmm.
I am my father. I am my mother, genetically, right? I come with there's biophysical propensities in a hybrid form. And then I'm born into a culture that has a fantasy belief system. Can I see all of that and recognize it and understand it? And how I can't see to him is sit down and say, could you help me understand something? I feel your pain, right? Can you help me understand this, right?
I agree. To be compassionate towards certain people is harder than certain other people.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
You choose.
You're farther up the hill than I am, brother.
I'm doing the best I can.
Always. I saw something that was very touching. The Saturday night after the election, I saw a comedian on television who was going on about current affairs and the elections, and got lots of laughs, and it wasn't overly critical, but it was pointed at the president. And after the crowd died down and he was wrapping up, he said, "Remember how badly you felt 4 years ago today? When you were sure that Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president? Remember how badly you felt, how angry you felt?" This is a comedian, world, you know. And he said, that's how they feel today too. So don't be gleeful, don't be cruel, be compassionate and caring, because those people are feeling exactly what you felt 4 years ago. The last thing I expected to come out of this person's mouth in that setting, and it really struck me that, boy, that's a good insight. That's a very, to me, very healthy, loving insight. Recognize that lots and lots of people are hurt, sad. And that's not something to be gleeful about or something to mock. It is the human condition. We done?
Sir?
The director has said that I'm done.
I'm not.
That's so much.
Oh, we have a comment.
One more.
Oh, Roshi Vikara is here.
Yes, Roshi.
Good morning.
I've found that I've been very reactive around the whole extreme right wing thing. And that's been difficult for me. And I realize that it really frightens me to the depth of my bones. And the not masking, the disregard, and just from a pure health standpoint. And I had an interesting interaction with a new patient who came in, big guy, sat with his arms all across, had a gaiter, that was barely covering his nose. And
I don't know what happened.
I can't hear you and your name is on the screen.
Internet.
We lost you. If you can hear us, Vikara, your iPad has turned off.
Oh, she's going to close.
Oh,
oh, okay.
She's got my seat. What a surprise.
There's only one seat.
keep your
No, my battery
accents
ran
up.
out. It's not something screwed up with it. But what happened was that the gaiter that he was wearing kept slipping down farther and farther and farther. And so I asked him, it's like, would you please bring that up over your nose? I said, I'm wearing my mask to protect you. And I'd really appreciate it if you would bring that up so I'm protected as well. And he goes, it's all a bunch of bullshit anyway. It's just a big hoax. And I just said, okay, well, I don't want to get the hoax either. So it was like, and it just kind of spontaneously came out because I couldn't figure out what else to do. Was I at the point about kicking this guy out of the office? Because he shouldn't even been in the cancer center if he was going to pull that stuff. So there comes my righteousness, right? It was wonderful. So
Your teacher showed up with a
yeah, and so I didn't get the
Harley
hope.
Davidson t-shirt on.
I know. Okay, yeah, so but wow. So it was a great teaching for me because the guy actually cracked up and I did too, so that really surprised the daylights out of me. So
Well done.
yeah, so
Well done.
may none of us get COVID, may none of us get the hoax either.
I haven't had the hoax yet.
No, that's because the joke's on you all the time.
So that's a wonderful place to stop and perhaps
Thank you.
makes the point better than I could. It's a wonderful example of how we are all one Sangha. People that trigger us, the people that love us, the people that scare us, we're all one Sangha. And we're invited in this practice to do the very best we can, to know ourselves and to behave and think in a loving way.
Mhm.
So you can get folks, you can get the joke too. Bless you. Thank you for being here.
And you.